Hi, welcome to the video. In this, going to be covering another analysis of a M-Cave Kenny Veach mystery investigator. As you've previously seen, I've covered J Chuck and also JSilverheals. If you haven't checked them out, make sure to do so. The link above and the description as well. So we're going to be doing the same again, a little bit different this time. We're going to be looking at TRE, also known as Artari. The reason why it's a little bit different this time is this is an individual who has investigated and gone in deep and been around for a while, but not hands-on like Silverheals and J Chuck. This is more digitally. Is that how you say it? Online, researching online and stuff. And I'd say she's been, to an extent successful over time. So let's get into it. So to begin with, with positives, key points is with Artari, she does find important information online. She knows where to look. She might have the correct resources, or just simply using the correct search engines, using the correct keywords, knowing what to type, what to think at the time. Because as I said, I've tried in the past looking for stuff and I was unsuccessful. Whether it might be some address of a website or an area, location, or it's trying to look for a missing comment somewhere. But Artari, she manages, and that's what she's good at. So that's all good. It's also very helpful because it might be able to solve something, it might add to the mystery, might even debunk stuff, It's not always just like new information or looking for the new information. Sometimes it's her finding and researching into stuff and then using that to reinforce a point, reinforce some kind of mystery, such as, the supposed crystal skull in the mine shaft. She did a bit of research and stuff and found out that hidden forest Reiki healing store in Las Vegas, the same one that was broken into in 2018 and the suspect looked like Kenny Veach. Well, Artari was able to reinforce the potential mystery of the mine shaft with the fact that healing store was selling crystals, skull crystals, similar in shape and the actual visual look of it in the mine shaft. So that research there helped reinforce that mystery to an extent. But then, in other areas, reinforcing or debunking examples, such as the keyhole. Now, I think in the end it was actually a B, but to an extent what Artari did, she researched there about the hole and potential wildlife creatures that could cause it. And also just using her own knowledge of the area she was once in. So that also helps as well. And it ties back to J Chuck to an extent, and even Silverheals. Those type of individuals that are in that area, whether permanently or at a certain point in time, in that terrain, that environment, they will obviously have a better idea of what is what and are helpful and useful and, to an extent, successful in clearing stuff up, highlighting something, the importance of stuff, or clearing up any loose ends. So it all works, and you see these overlapping similarities, such as being in the area, having more knowledge than most others. So there is that. So as I said, the important info has been useful over time. Could be anything like the comments which came up. Not exactly the recent ones because that got a bit messy, but the comments back in the past where Artari, what I think was the only person to have done so, from what I've seen, was to be successful in locating nearly all the comments out there from Kenny on all the different videos out there, and then able to do more research further down the line and actually tie them in with one another and we'll get to that shortly, okay? That key point. So yeah, as I said, she knows where to look, and this is the key thing. As she said, she's got a laptop and a tablet or something, or a laptop and a phone. Now, as long as you've got internet connection, that's what matters, so you can actually research online. So, aside from that, the fact that Artari's got, you could say, limited resources, and yet she's still able to do what she does. She's still able to make good videos. She has, I guess, music resources, if you want to call it that, to be able to add to her videos, so it makes it much more spooky. I mean, I'm gonna be realistic here. In terms of the music she uses, a lot better and spookier compared to maybe some of mine I've used. And I say some of mine because it would be unfair to say all of them, because the music I use is good, and it's very good of the channel who does those pieces to have them copyright free. That's great. They do really well. But in terms of nearly every time when Artari uses her music, that certain theme, that certain tone is exactly what I would want in some of my videos. That's what I'm trying to say. But it's difficult trying to find the correct piece of music, especially when it comes to the copyright and stuff. I mean, I can't remember how she works around the music, because she uses maybe a different platform or something. I don't know, but just for the simple ambience, the audience retention and attention span, probably better when it comes to the music aspect compared to some of the music I've used, because it's a bit more intense, it's a bit more darker, and it just the actual tone of the music kind of goes up and down, up and down. It's not just like a simple drone in the background. It's quite good. And like with her recent videos, because of returning back and covering the mystery, done quite well in terms of that part. So as I said, limited resources, yet she's able to make good videos, and fairly long ones as well. And the edits as well, all the information and the different slides and the different text and stuff that appears on screen, it's all good. And even the thumbnail, I actually like the thumbnails TRE uses, the way they've got different layers. I like thumbnails with multiple layers. So you might have a background, maybe another picture on top, whether it's layered through, maybe it's see-through, maybe the opacity, that's how you say it, is slightly lowered so it blends in, and then you got the text on front. So that's good. And also the way she does her thumbnails most of the time is the consistency, and I'll link into that later on with Tiari, but the consistency in, I guess, the quality edits. I'm not saying it in a bad way, but it might not be like really extremely high-end edits, but it's not low-end either. It's kind of in the middle, and it's the same each time. So that consistency, and the consistency with the thumbnails as well. I mean, it's just all tiny details which can lead to more people coming in and then it being more successful. And some people could say, oh, does it really matter? It doesn't really matter how many people watch, or it doesn't matter about this or that. Well, technically it does, because I know some people get a bit, show a bit of resistance in certain areas when it comes to getting views, getting likes. But in terms of the audience reach for what Artari does, which isn't going through her mind at the time, most likely she's naturally doing it without thinking, is she's able to maybe bring more people in because of the use of the thumbnail. It might grab people's attention. And then even the use of the tags in the description, that is very helpful. That is necessary when you do mystery related videos like that. If you have the tags, when you click on that tag, which is just below the video title or so in blue, the hashtag thing, if you click on it, it will direct you to a page where every single video is there about that sort of stuff. Now, most of it is mine. You click on, so it's basically me. I'm on every single one, but that's only because I have, gone a bit over the top, uploading 151 videos on this mystery. So it's bound to happen. But like any other mysteries or any other related topics out there, whatever, you click on the hashtag and it's a whole library of it all there. So it can draw everyone into that one spot, and that's what Artari does. So these little features, these little methods are very useful. More people come in, whether it's immediate or over time, doesn't matter. It can lead to more opinions, more viewpoints, and maybe it might attract the correct people at a certain point in time. Now, maybe the way I've done it at times wasn't as smooth. You know, it might have been tension, friction and resistance that has brought the correct people in, but it still worked. Now with Artari, she does it more naturally, more smoothly, maybe because of her personality as well, which I'll get into later. It just all works together, and then it might lead to the mystery being solved quicker, or newer developments, quicker developments, such as, is it DJ React or somebody else, can't remember, recently came in and cleared it up with Artari about those recent comments. Well, not recent comments, but the recent findings of the comments from 2014 in December. I think a month after Kenny's disappearance, saying it was actually a bot account or something that set that up, so it wasn't really Kenny. You know, just that, it just helped clear things up, remove it and move on to the next thing, hopefully. So yeah, that's one or two positives in that area. So I guess the next thing will be her personality. Now, naturally, her personality, don't need to go too much into it because it's not necessary. But yeah, she's a good person. She is respectful and she is kind. And she is trusting, but also you can trust her. Whether it comes to saying certain stuff, could be mystery related or completely out of that, completely other stuff. You know, you can trust them. And if you can trust them, then it's easier for communication and stuff, better communication, better understanding, and it just flows better. So just in you know, a natural everyday way, it's good. So that's what makes her who she is. So that's all good. And it does have positives, and it does actually benefit the mystery in a way, because due to her personality, there's probably many other traits and characteristics which are within the individual which haven't been shown. That's fine. But in terms of like being kind, being respectful, being trusting, I guess a level of innocence as well, it all adds to and benefits and complements the mystery in a sense, because it can lead to receiving maybe resources or receiving information, attracting, and I don't mean it in that way, but attracting the correct people, bringing people in. An example would be in terms of like the trust factor. Certain information can't be revealed at this moment in time, or in recent time at least, because she isn't able to yet. She's she's holding certain information at the moment in time until it's, you know, practical and necessary to show, because of like other people out there who might have passed it on to her. Those other people that have passed it on to her trust her because of her personality in a good way. So because of the way she is, there are higher chances of her being able to either solve the mystery more successfully than some in certain areas, okay? And if not that, she's more successful and does better than me in terms of getting certain information from certain contacts. Because of her personality, it draws in those contacts. Those contacts can trust her, those contacts can respect her, and then vice versa. And then that can lead to, you know, receiving the correct information at the correct time, and it helping and aiding in the mystery. So yeah, with the correct personality, it can definitely go a long way, and she demonstrates that. You know, completely different example, and I don't mean in a bad way, but like you get JSilverheals where he's like, anyway, I'm in a wheelchair. No, I'm not. Hey, Claw, I respect you. Man, Claw's a complete idiot. He knows nothing. He's a snake in the grass. And Sean, stone cold penguin. We've got a disaster here. This ain't looking good. That sort of personality, it's funny. there is positives. There is positives to that. And some people might think, what the hell are you on about, Andrew? Well, don't worry, I've got an idea, okay, it's under control. But JSilverheals kind of entertainment, whether he's doing it on purpose or not, as well, hopefully he finds it funny as well. But his area of acting the way he does still has positives, like entertainment, makes people laugh, can add to a morale boost when it comes to solving the mystery. You look at the war, you get soldiers laughing during mid-conflict, during a battle, after an explosion. And the reason why they laugh, the reason why they need humour is because it's the only thing that gets them through that. Now, not to say that it applies here, because I think that's a bit over the top to say, because it's just simply a mystery, but you get what I'm saying. There's benefits there. The negative of JSilverheals' personality, or what he has shown, is he's less likely to receive information, less likely to be given stuff, or a lower chance of cooperation with other people because of that maybe tension, or that friction, that on and off type personality. Whereas with Artari, the way she acts is maybe a bit more formal, a bit more reserved in a way, a bit more positive, without being showing bad signs, if that makes sense. But, you know, each person, different characteristics, different traits, it can still have, you know, benefits somewhere within the mystery. JSilverheals, morale boost. Artari, getting the correct information and it working down the line. So there's that. And as I said, reaching correct contacts with the important info, that's what really matters. And if she's able to do that, or find the correct people, source them out, then that's obviously a good thing. Now, the next positive with Artari, you can argue there's a negative as well, but we'll get to that later, is her deep connection when it comes to symbolisms, certain puzzles, piecing things together, and I guess research as well, ties in as well to find the stuff. So like with the symbolisms, whether it's because she once worked in some kind of spiritual shop, I know some other viewer called Kiki, if that's how you say the name, works or worked in a spiritual shop. So you get those overlapping similarities again. You've got the Kenny Veach mystery, Kenny's into spirituality, Sean is into spirituality, J Chuck to an extent is into spirituality, Artari's been involved into some forms of spirituality. You see what I'm getting at? And you got the healing store as well to do with spirituality. There's so many overlapping things over time. But let's get back on track. So with Artari, with the spirituality part, with working in a shop at a certain point in time, that influence on her, whether it's good or bad, or it made her more alert and more aware of stuff, more successful in this mystery. Her knowledge or her experiences can help aid in this mystery in some way, give a different viewpoint, different talk, different point of view, because she can see things maybe other people can't. And that might be because of the spiritual aspect, the symbolisms, how things connect with one another in this world. It might even be because of the religious aspect. I'm not too sure about that. Don't need to go too far with that. But I think she's religious to an extent. So that might help within this mystery, whether it's that connection with Kenny, that connection in solving the mystery, the mindset and the determination behind that, or even the M cave itself, if there's like a connection there. I guess it's just when you add the spirituality influence, experience, and the religious aspect, it might have changed them in a good way, might have led to more of an open mind, or the mind more open to sensing, feeling, seeing, hearing more things. And like in a mystery like this, when you do have those weird sightings caught on camera and the weird sounds caught on camera, auditory, you know, Artari could pick up on that stuff, or maybe debunk it, or reinforce certain points and explain what it actually was. Yeah, I'm just trying to think. Like I said, like with the healing store in Las Vegas and the skull in the mine shaft, that crystal one, she was able to pick up on that. Also, another one in terms of symbolisms, such as Kenny Veach, when he did his house tour, showing his house, Artari did a full-on video explanation I don't know if it's still up, but she did a full-on video explanation, you know, explaining and demonstrating everything within the video, how that ties in with this, that ties in with that. Kenny's created this item. He's got that walking stick, that cane in the background, which Bernard Alvarez has in his room too. So there could be a link there. Because of those items Kenny created, it shows that he's very imaginative, and if he's got an imaginative mind, he might plan things, he knows what he's doing, he can create things well, so he might be able to create his own disappearance. You know how it ties from one thing to another. She's able to branch stuff out. That's what Artari can do, and that's what she's demonstrated, such as that video I talked about. There's a lot of objects, a lot of items with that, and she saw that. One of the big key ones, which I briefly made a video on as well, is the part, I think it's the same video, the part where he's at the desk at a table, and Artari picked out and pieced out how there is coins found on the table. That kind of symbolises the coins found at the mine shaft, just so happens. You got a skeleton like laying flat, and that symbolises maybe Kenny himself. An injured arm, which symbolises Kenny in some way. I can't remember whether it's he might have got injured when he went out there, or he got injured once. Or maybe he left a comment on YouTube talking about something and mentioned about to do with an injured arm or something. Can't quite remember, but I'm sure Artari does. She did cover it in her recent video. She referred back to it. I'm not sure which one though. Maybe I can get it on screen, or maybe provide a link. Or maybe Artari can clear certain things up along the way in this video, just to make it a bit more understandable.
And he died rolling dice there, so silly. But
in addition to what Artari said about the symbolisms, how she said on the table, you got the skeleton there, you've got dice on the side, which could symbolise gambling away whatever, gambling away his life, gambling and risking it all to be successful, or for things to be pulled off, risking and chancing his disappearance in hopes of it working out down the line. That's one of the symbolisms that I thought of. And also just simply the dice that add up to 11, 11th month or so, when Kenny disappeared in November, said it was that, and then, you know, some other like symbolisms within that video. And then, you know, the other key symbolism, what Artari saw when it came to Robin's video. Yeah, we're back to Robin again, okay? Cover your eyes, cover your ears, Silverheals. So with Robin, Artari, she was the only one, I believe, who saw and was the first one to see that rock in the distance, the one with that weird M symbol on. Now, it wasn't an M symbol literally when you see it, but this is where it ties in with the research. It also ties in with the symbolism. Artari did research, did check online, and it was a symbol in Hebrew, which translated to the letter M in cave, right, something like that. So because of that, you know, she was able to compare the two, and the Hebrew symbol, which was like kind of like a square box with a little flick top left corner, looked very similar to that on the rock. So she was able to, you know, reinforce that that is the letter M if you translate it into that. And she was successful in that area. Now, in terms of actually revisiting, locating that area, that hasn't been successful because we don't know where Robin exactly was. That is still a mystery. Who knows what will happen or if it will be solved. Jeff Clark tried, he's done well, but not got the correct canyon at this moment in time. So we'll see what happens with that down the line. But as said, demonstrated Artari, did the research, used the symbolisms, maybe used her own previous knowledge from stuff, and then able to come up with somewhat of a valid combination and connection to reinforce that point at the time. So, you know, that worked out. Is there anything else? Yeah, there probably is. Maybe like the Scott Natal one, when Scott Natal came across that cave, went inside, and then found those, you know, symbols on the rock, the figure of 8, I think the circle, and some other one. Artari, you know, briefly touched upon that as well, how it could mean certain stuff, whether it's Asian or something else more mysterious. So, you know, stuff like that, it just clearly shows that from her experience and from what she knows, it is very applicable, or was it applicable in this mystery, because the mystery itself, there's a lot going on. There seems to be a lot of symbolisms, a lot of sub-mysteries, and a lot of deep connections, deep-rooted, whether it's to do maybe with family, maybe Kenny himself, maybe, what else could it be? Just like symbols in general, literally out there, as said, like with the rock and the cave. So yeah. Also, in addition to that, like when it comes to certain resources or certain research, like the Facebook, because she was able to access the Facebook and check out Kenny Veach, she was able to notice and identify that spiritual part of Kenny, in terms of locating that post from 2012, how he's talking about how things are very important in life and stuff. So we're able to, you know, start off from then and really connect out and branch out. So she was kind of a catalyst in that area. And then, you know, like another positive would be just simple fact that she does pass down information for other people to cover, which is good of her. That can be very helpful. You know, sometimes I can't always find stuff, or I can't always get the correct things, but with her passing stuff on, it makes things easier in general to make a video on, or for me to give my opinion on, or if I needed to use evidence to prove that point or to prove this, because she's got the pictures, or she might have an article or a screenshot of something, she passes it on, then I can use it, and she allows that, so that's good. And, you know, she is flexible as well. You know, I don't know if that's a personality characteristic trait, but the flexible trait in terms of can work around certain things. And, you know, if you wanted to make a video in response to her, or make a video adding on to what she's made, or if you wanted to use certain material from hers, she will allow it. But at the same time, she's smart in the sense that she'll tell you that just be aware, you can't use this, or you're better off taking the music out, so there's no conflict there. So, you know, she makes sure to keep you aware of what can be used and what can't be, so there's no copyright problems down the line with third-party people. So that's good of them to, good of Artari to acknowledge and, you know, make you aware to avoid any situations and problems down the line. And a final strength I just wanted to add in, a positive, which ties in with Artari's personality, is that Tiari, the way she is and the way she acts at certain times, is she is cautious. She isn't stupid. So when it comes to maybe receiving certain information, or maybe someone's commented, she is kind of cautious to trust whether they are who they are, because they could be fake, they could be an imposter. Now, briefly touching upon what Artari has said, maybe from experience, past encounters, can't always trust people, encountered it themselves. So that experience has reinforced that adaptation, that reinforcement of a certain mindset, a certain approach, tightened, more restricted instincts, which basically leads to her being a little bit more safer because of unfortunate previous encounters in regards to this mystery. It makes sense. But just naturally, without those, she is cautious anyway, because when it came to maybe more recent time before moving to Hawaii, because of where she lived, where she was, there was more chances of resistance, maybe more chances of being in danger. If receiving certain information and then publicly releasing it, it would compromise her or her situation or people she may know of. So she was smart in the sense, I say the word was because at the time in the situation she was in, she was smart herself to keep herself safe, or to the best she could, and obviously people around successful. So that's another key point, because although this mystery, you know, maybe to some people is more important than others, some people might be really fixed on it or determined, you know, she does have a limit, whether it's physical limit or not psychological, but more instinct, personality related limit of how far to go at times, and maybe with certain people. And that's what helps her to maybe keep making videos, or just the correct timing of when to upload them, so you avoid as much of resistance as possible. Whereas someone like me, I might upload this, I might upload that, I might create this, might create that, maybe a bit more recklessly, and that could cause issues, that could cause tension, more friction, unnecessary problems. So maybe she operates in a much more smoother way, she has a much more developed mindset, but then again that might be because of age, no offense there. But you know, there's lots of different factors to consider. But you know, as I said, maybe mine might be a little bit more reckless or a bit more full on in certain things, but it can still work out. And Artari has her own way when it comes to dealing with certain stuff. So yeah, I'm sure there's other strengths, more physical strengths, when it comes to overcoming certain things or battling against certain things. It could be unrelated stuff, or it could just be simply the resistance she faces. Because I said, whether it be the odd comment or people reaching out privately or maybe publicly, certain accounts or waves of people saying certain things in a bad way, she's managed to resist against it, even though she did say that it did, you know, have a bit of a negative effect on her at some point in time. Not really an issue there, because it just simply shows that she isn't a psychopath, so that's obviously a good thing. And she does care when it comes to certain stuff, or you know, she reacts accordingly, which is all good and fine. But you know, you put aside those setbacks or whatever, you know, she's still uploading videos, so that's obviously a positive. She has returned back to uploading Kenny Veach mystery related videos, even if there was, you know, issues previously and so. But, you know, tying back in with that cautiousness, that cautious nature, being alert, being aware, timing things at the right time, appropriate place, correct time, such as like moving to that other place now, maybe more able to release certain stuff without being in danger. So that's what I said, you know, at times there's a place, there's a time to do and to say things, and that can apply to anything. And in Artari's case, it applies there. And even maybe right now, there's a time and place to release certain information and to say certain stuff. You know, to some people, it's just get all the information out as quick as possible, throw it out there. But some things take more time. Some things need to be more refined, and just for the best outcome, most impact, the most effective way possible. And I guess she's demonstrated that, and she's demonstrating it right now. So yeah, so I think that, you know, sums most of it up. I'm sure there's probably like other key points to make note of, but you know, that's just kind of like in brief in a way. I'll briefly touch upon I don't know how you'd call it, I wouldn't call it criticism, maybe kind of criticisms in a way, but it's reinforced with a positive. Okay, I'll explain further now. I mean, really the only criticism, a valid one to be fair, would be how she has took down, deleted certain videos in the past when it's come to making things. The reason why it's criticism is because it's like, not to do with hiding stuff. I mean, people who aren't alert could think, oh, Artari must be hiding things, removing stuff like that, that's bad. Makes things more suspicious, doesn't help in the mystery, it worsens it, it makes things more confusing. Well, yeah, that's what some people could say, but just like a general thought would be, does it actually help? Because that video, that material could have been helpful, maybe in the future, or maybe right now. Maybe there was important stuff which was valid, so why take it down? It's kind of like counterproductive. So that is a criticism. I mean, JSilverheals, kind of JChuck, have all done it. Uploaded a video, mystery related, and then took it down afterwards. I think more in JSilverheals' case, that was because what was going through his mind at the time, or maybe he was drinking or something, and then started rambling on, and then realised, oh, it's not necessary anymore, this video, or oh, I might have made a mistake, or it was just like a time-gated video, and then took it down afterwards. It doesn't help, really. But to counter that criticism in Artari's case, just simply because it's, you know, a valid one, she did take down her videos at a certain point in time, I think because of two reasons, or at least one of two reasons. One of it was resistance and certain people, groups targeting her. So, you know, that caution, that put oneself or the people around them first mentality, which is obviously a good thing, at the cost of deleting or privatizing videos for the sake of safety, you know, is necessary, and it makes sense. So yeah, that basically clears that up. Yeah, it was just simply because of the resistance and stuff faced over time. Makes sense. And then another potential explanation, which I think was touched upon by her, was just simply because of the way YouTube laws were becoming, the way you can't use certain material, or it's got to be in a certain format. And, you know, that's why she took the video down, to avoid, I guess, the channel being struck or receiving warnings from YouTube. So, you know, that cautiousness again, for the sake of her own channel and everything she's built on YouTube, instead of risking all the content she's already created, she had to make a sacrifice, which was privatizing or deleting certain videos. So that explains that, doesn't it, in a valid way. So it's not, it can be considered a criticism, the action of taking videos down, but then when you look into the reasoning behind it, specifically in Artari's case, it simply makes sense. And an actual positive to further counter that criticism would be, you know, the way she acted upon it afterwards. She did re-upload certain videos, re-upload previous ones that were deleted. So that's good. You know, you're not hiding anything. It takes away that suspicion. It removes that, all the negative thoughts. And it just simply, you know, reinforces that genuinity, if that's a word. So that's all good. And as well, she's, because of her, I guess, being creative, because, you know, with art and stuff, she may have been able to channel that art in terms of how she creates her layouts, as I said, with the thumbnail, the use of music, the way she constructs her videos and edits. It all shows there. It leaks through that talent, what she has within. But specifically, more to do with overcoming those certain obstacles, such as maybe the YouTube restrictions, using her knowledge of art or creativity by channeling that into re-uploading previous videos but changing the format of them visually, such as the filters, cartoonish effect, I don't know what other effects there is, but, you know, all the different filters which change the colour, change the actual look of the video. Because I think they were saying that YouTube will recognise someone's face in the video, and if it wasn't allowed, it'll be done as copyright or something. So that's why she changed the filters, so the facial recognition thing wouldn't be detected. So that was quite smart what she did, and it was, all in all, just a simple valid point to say that certain action displayed by her could be considered bad, but it's quickly reinforced with a positive, and further reinforced with another positive which ties in with their personality. So yeah. Now, one criticism, and I don't think it's been displayed yet, because she is known to reinforce things down the line, tie up loose ends, and also provide updates, even if there wasn't a breakthrough and something fell through. She'll provide an update to say, yes, it wasn't this, it wasn't that in the end. But let's get to that in a second. So, like a general criticism, and it doesn't apply to her, but I'm still going to mention it anyway because it can apply to other people. And that's the sense of, when it does come to symbolisms, when it does come to seeing things and sensing stuff and then tying it with one another, connecting multiple things together, people from there, from that country, from that area, that comment with that comment, that date with that date, that number with that object, and tying it all together into one is possible and is doable, and you can actually make a very valid point or an argument, and then it becomes more believable. But at the end of the day, it might be nothing more than just a mere coincidence, and just many coincidences. You tie them all together because they are coincidences and they just so happen to link, concurrence of events. You then can push forward certain ideas and certain theories when they're not actually true. And then that could be considered lying, leading people on, misdirection, confusion, mainly confusion. Most of the time it's not always done in intent. Now with Artari, I don't know if she has demonstrated like certain aspects of that, maybe seeing something when there isn't anything there. I mean, you could actually flip that argument more onto me seeing something that isn't actually there, such as the keyhole, the eye, or maybe that thing that appears around the rock just recently. There's nothing there, Andrew. Why are you looking too far into it? Why are you reaching so far into it? Well, I do have a counterpoint. Those related videos based off from what other people have seen, then I put myself in their shoes. I probably wouldn't fit their shoes, to be honest, but I put myself in their shoes from their point of view and try and understand what they're seeing and what is going through their mind psychologically to reason and come to some kind of explanation to conclude with that's why and that's how they can see whatever's going on. So I, in a way, become them. So then I guess that criticism can then be placed onto me. But when I am myself, the criticism can't apply because I'm just trying to see it from someone else's perspective. So that's how I counter that element. There's a lot of counters, and it doesn't just apply here, it applies to many things. Now with Artari, the way she counters it, if she has or if she did cause or see something which wasn't there, she immediately counters it simply because, maybe because it's tied with her personality, she wants to solve the mystery, and because she's determined to, even when things fall through or don't work out, she still is open enough to explain and say, okay, it wasn't this in the end, or it wasn't that. It turned out it was a lie, or it turned out it was misinformation, or so. Because, some form of information she gets, like recently, I guess, maybe certain links to certain websites to see certain comments and articles. She hasn't created that stuff, she's been given that. So it's not exactly her fault if something does fall through, and we'll tie it onto a next point in a second, which can be countered as well. But, as I said, she counters that criticism because she does provide updates, and with that consistency, when she's able to, she can clear up a mystery within the actual mystery within itself. So then, kind of like what I've done in a way. And it's helpful because you don't want lots of loose ends. You don't want lots of sub-mysteries because that can get in the way and it can clutter trying to solve everything. It leads to roadblocks and barriers. What Artari does is tries to remove those issues. If there is a lead, if there is new information, she will go full at it. She will plough into it in a sense. And then if it does fall through, you could say there's a consequence. Let's add on to the next point. If she gets a lead or she gets a certain finding, she's going to go full into it. She's going to do as much as she can to either prove it or to reinforce it or to find more of that lead. That can tie in and it can lead to the criticism in general, just simply of, then it can backfire down the line. You put all your time in or your effort, focus, and then it does fall through. It's not always good. And I mean that more in terms of one's self-feeling, maybe a bit of disappointment, feeling a little bit deflated because it's not worked out. But a counter positive point to put forwards against that would be, it shows she is determined, but also shows that she'll do the best she can to, follow through with stuff. And it also touches upon that personality trait, which is, could be considered negative in a sense, because it can lead to things not always working out, but it can be countered with a positive, and that's, a certain level of innocence. Truly believing in something, which is obviously a good thing, but sometimes it doesn't always work out. But I'd say in this case, it's not too much of an issue because, as said, it's all countered when she steps back up, gets back up and simply says, okay, it didn't go quite the way it should have done, and then moves on to the next key thing. So, you know, it's not an issue at the end of the day. Is there anything else? No, I think I've, mentioned most of it. As I said, I didn't want to go too deep. I mean, you know, when it comes to certain stuff, I can do, but I don't think it's really necessary or appropriate. If there is any issues with this video or whatever, dissatisfaction or whatever it may be, whether it's incorrect timing or not, whatever, leave a comment down below and then we'll fix it that way. But as I said, this is just like a little short, brief analysis on yet another individual who's investigated and been involved in the MK Kenny Veach mystery and has used some form of resources, been involved in some way. And for once, this is a video covering it from a different aspect, a different point of view, online, the use of online, getting information that way, finding stuff that way, which has helped within the mystery. And I guess in more recent time, with the correct contacts and knowing the correct people, things are maybe working out, or things are moving a bit quicker than they used to, from maybe her point of view. So yeah, I think that sums it all up. I don't know who else I'd really cover, to be honest. You know, at the end of the day, maybe there's no real need to, but I guess it's one way of just acknowledging or pointing out important points regarding certain people. I mean, a very brief example would be J Chuck. At the time of when he was investigating, you know, he was saying about how, oh, I feel like it was in vain. It didn't work out. I wasn't able to locate, reclaim Kenny's remains. I was unsuccessful at the time. And then did a little video and just simply said, you know, whilst you've done what you've done, even though it might not be successful in the way you hoped it to be, what has been successful is simply clearing the area. J Chuck was able to go up certain ravines, cover great distance and extreme hike routes, and, you know, just simply say, right, there's nothing there, there's nothing here, case closed. It helps along the way. And yeah, that's why I did that. And even JSilverheals as well. He's he's been there. He's provided the odd few screenshots and stuff. You know, JSilverheals, as I said, was useful in at least debunking the keyhole, actual physical, you know, raw video material, which is obviously very helpful. Now, yes, you could say, oh, well, there's a bit of a gap between the video I covered at the time and then when JSilverheals debunked it, but that doesn't really matter at the end of the day. JSilverheals was able to clear that up with actual footage because he actually went there. And then in briefly covering the covered cave, that was useful because his material, his dating of when he recorded it and when was usable and practical in a video I did when going through the different, you know, time lapse of the covered cave, how it changed, maybe eroded or things became missing and stuff. So, you know, it's like a working machine. There's a lot of cogs, there's a lot of gears. You need them all because if you're missing one, it's just not going to work. And, you know, in a way, it applies here with the people. I'm sure someone will come along now and say, oh, you're objectifying people as items. Oh my God. Someone will say that, or someone will be thinking that somewhere. Maybe it won't happen, but I know it would happen maybe in my country, probably. Someone get offended, typical. But as I said, tie it all back to Artari, her area, her personality, what she's done and what she could do down the line has been helpful and has worked. And yeah, I think that sums it up. Hopefully the video wasn't too long. So yeah, hope you enjoyed the video and I'll see you in the next one. That's it for now. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.